So you're watching Fin Business and we are in conversation with Nectarios. So there are a couple of things I would like to learn from you specifically regarding fintech. The first thing I would like to learn is how Startup Bootcamp is actually helping fintechs globally to grow.
Um, Globally for us means that we actually have a presence around the world. We've got now fintech programs in London, Singapore, New York, Mexico City, and Mumbai, and one in Amsterdam. And we're helping them by bringing them together with industry. So in every of these locations, we have banks and non-banking financial institutions who all work together to actually help the startups validate the proposition, fine-tune the business, and grow really, really fast in a very short period of time.
Okay, so when you're validating the proposals, when you're evaluating the business models, what are the major challenges that you face with the fintechs today? And also the fintech area is really growing. If you look at globally, the fintechs are really huge. And also I would like to add whether the fintechs will become as big as bank growing ahead.
Okay, that's quite a few questions.
Yes.
Let's break them down. The biggest challenge startups have is that
Yes.
most startups actually build solutions that are built to sell into the financial industry.
True.
They're B2C solutions, B2B solutions. What we're helping them is getting them to understand what they need to do to become attractive to the banks, how they need to sell into the banks, but at the same time we work with the industry and the innovation departments
True.
to understand what they need to do to actually be ready for that. And that's a big problem because although they talk a lot about fintech, they don't really understand how to engage with entrepreneurs. So building that bridge and getting both sides to understand each other and the importance to work together, it's a key thing. And when you look at globally, across the world, there's banks and other financial institutions that aren't necessarily prepared for this engagement, but there are some who are really good at it and they understand the importance of building that capability to actually continue doing this as part of their R&D and as part of their investment strategy.
When fintechs come onto the board, what is the value proposition that both the companies, including, the fintech and the bank, look at it? And also, how long does it take for a fintech for a break even? And when a promoter or a venture capitalist, those who put the money into the business, will think that, okay, I will get the returns?
Okay, let's take the investment
Yes.
side completely out of it for the moment. The startups that we deal with are usually relatively early stage. We want them to have started building something, but they're usually not live yet. Maybe if we're lucky, they might have some revenue, some customers, but they're still very early stage. So usually just before their first seed round, right? And what they built is they're all built solutions. They're all built products and services that solve problems, right? It could be payments, it could be lending, it could be investment, it could be very specific back office processes in the financial institution, but they all are solving problems. And problems that are addressing also issues within the banks. What the banks don't necessarily understand is that they can benefit from that. And the banks think very often still that they can do it themselves, but the technology is changing so fast that they actually can't. This is where the collaboration starts kicking in and they both see how they can benefit from each other. How long does it take? Imagine any technology vendor who sells into a large organization, it can take 18 months. It's not in the old days where you look at a startup, they build a cool app or a marketplace, they put it up somewhere, and within a month they've got 1 million downloads. This is not the business we're in. These are startups that need regulation. They sell into enterprise where it can take a long time until they're actually at a point where they make sense. The problem is that the investors don't necessarily understand that. They have a very naive perspective. They think, I'm going to put in 100K to 100K and I'm going to get my 10X within 2 years, and that's just very unrealistic. And it generates a very unhealthy atmosphere.
Okay.
So I'm super frustrated with people hyping up the fintech space without necessarily understanding that fintech, insurtech, regtech, highly regulated, highly enterprise-focused processes and organizations, it's just going to take a lot longer.
So you partly answered, but now since you said that highly regulated, highly focused areas, how do you see the growth going ahead? Now we are in 2017 and there are lots of reports of the consultancy firms, if you look at globally, that by 2020, by 2025, perhaps fintechs will be as big as banks. Do you buy that story?
We work with PwC in quite a few of our programs, so we actually contribute to those reports. I think we need to be more differentiated. There are startups that will play an increasingly big role in the future, and they're growing, right? Be it peer-to-peer payments, be it lending, be it investment. We see some of the startups becoming real companies now that really become a player in the market. At the same time, let's not forget the biggest challenge that the banks are facing is that they don't understand that in order for them to survive, they need to decouple their processes. They need to start becoming separate, addressing separate things in different ways. So it's going to be a parallel move where some of the startups will become big, some of the companies that we have now, some of the banks and the NBFCs will probably become smaller. and more diverse. And there will be a lot of collaboration. We see that collaboration starting now, but it's really at the very beginning of this process.
My last question. I would like to learn from you with your global observations. How do you look at Indian fintech market? Because the number of Indian fintechs are going up, but at the same time, the closing down ratio is also very high. So which are the areas where you think fintech should focus more and how should they grow?
There's a reason we started a program in India because there is a high number of quality startups coming out of the market. But there's also a huge industry and huge population, so everything adds to the picture. What we see compared to trends across the world is that where fintech started as a wave, say in the UK and in the US, payments was the driver initially, it moved into lending, and now there's a lot of focus on investment. India still has to solve some challenges on the payment side, so we still need payment startups, we still need lending startups, we still need startups that service the SME market, and this is still a very underserviced market here. At the same time, we were surprised, and we're going to publish our trend report later this year for the Indian experience, is that we actually have had very high investment-focused startups. But it's going to be like everywhere else, it's going to be a fad to some extent. There's going to be startups that are just me too's or copy something, haven't done their homework, haven't looked to solve a problem. But we also see already some of the startups emerging that we think are going to be sustainable businesses, and some of them are here on stage later today.
Thank you so much, Matthias, and it was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.